Funny kitty. Wait, this is what we're filming today? Oh, this isn't gonna do it all. I'll be right back. All right, that's better. Let's talk about the Maextro S800. Hello and welcome to a very luxurious episode of Wheels Boy. Today, we're going to be exploring the lifestyles of the rich and famous by getting behind the wheel of the Maextro S800, a Chinese luxury sedan priced from $100 to $150,000 US and loaded with more technology than your average aircraft carrier. It is without a shadow of a doubt looking to take customers from the likes of the Mercedes-Benz Maybach S-Class. In order to do that, it needs to give those customers what they want, including styling that screams to everyone, "I am rich!" In order to do that, the S800 takes a page out of the classic luxury sedan handbook and uses lots and lots of chrome. Then it takes things a step further by blanketing the headlights, door handles, and the Nebula canvas taillight with LED stars. That taillight, by the way, also contains pieces of real crystal. Not exactly subtle, I know, but have you seen the latest Mercedes Maybach models? Subtlety isn't exactly popular right now. These 21-inch monoblock style wheels are a big part of that flashy look, and they've even got floating center caps that kind of don't spin when you drive. But unfortunately, this particular one has sprung a leak after about 8,000 kilometers. But the best luxury sedans don't simply rely on flash. They also move down the road like rolling landmarks, seemingly large enough to bend gravity itself. The S800, it does that too. With a length of 5.48 meters and a wheelbase of 3.37, it is almost exactly the same size as a Maybach S-Class. But at 2.85 tons, it is around 500 kilograms heavier than a V12 S680. I feel like I might just start orbiting it like a small moon. The brand name, Maextro. It's obviously a combination of the Italian word maestro, or master, but with an X instead of an S. It's supposed to sound high-end and luxurious, but I think it sounds more like a fourth-tier Marvel movie villain. Who knows? Maybe people generations from now will speak the name Maextro the same way we say Maybach or Bentley, but here in the year 2025, I doubt this is going to be the thing that convinces many people to buy this car. But while the rich do care about brand prestige, they also have more practical concerns, such as having a massive trunk where they can stash the wealth they've stolen from the working class. This car's trunk is 438 liters. Plenty of space to fit at least a few suitcases full of cash, but not as many suitcases as the 495 liters of a Maybach S-Class. While this car's trunk doesn't contain much in the way of wealth, it does contain the original box for this car's key and other accessories. It is made of real wood, it is lined with micro suede, and it has better build quality than all of the furniture in my house combined. The doors of the S800 are of course electrically operated and can be closed via a simple press of the brake pedal like so. Once those doors are closed, the outside world almost disappears, or at least the sounds from the outside world, thanks to glass that looks thick enough to use in an aquarium and over 40 kilograms of sound-deadening material. The dashboard features the same platter of screens that you'll find in other Huawei group models, including a 12.3-inch instrument cluster, 15.6-inch center screen, and 16-inch passenger screen, all run by the same Huawei Harmony operating system. Everything else in here has been turned up to 11, starting with material quality. These seats, for example, are trimmed in handcrafted, top-grade, full-grain calfskin, and they are soft, really soft. The headliner, I'm not actually sure if this is real leather, but it is very soft and at least leather-like material that's a little bit nicer even than the micro suede we usually see. Then you have all the trim in here that's decorated with the Parisian nails pattern. That's real metal, not plastic. In fact, almost every bit of trim that you can see in here that looks like metal is metal. Speaker grill covers, that's real metal. The door sill logos, That's real metal. This gigantic piece of trim that goes around the entire screen assembly, that is real metal. Even this little cover for the microphone that you'll never touch, that is real metal. This is, of course, real lacquered wood as well, and you can tell that it's been cut from a single large piece and then assembled, because you can see that the grain matches, for example, here in the cup holder and then the panel right next to it. That grain matches. Even in the back, the panel that goes from the door to the C-pillar, that is clearly cut from the same piece of wood because those grains line up. The knob here on the center console, as well as the part that's surrounding it, and the buttons here on the door, these are all real crystal, aka glass, not plastic. I don't really love it aesthetically, but points for quality. While we're talking about seat adjustment, this is as far back as I can lean this seat because of the wooden frame that's behind me. We'll get to what that's for. Of course, who cares about the driver? The person that matters is in the back seat. This little knob here, actually very interesting because it doesn't have a mechanical resistance. Instead, it uses a magnet. So the sensation is very interesting. Basically, when you start to push it, there's a resistance, but once it switches to the other pole of the magnet, it feels as though the knob is being sucked into the next position. That sounded a lot better when I wrote it down. Ahead of that are dual 50-watt wireless charging pads with this little divider here, made of metal, of course, that you can press down or up so you could fit a larger phone perhaps to charge. The S800, like so many other electric vehicles, has hidden air vents, but instead of having to go into the menu to control the direction of the air vents, you can actually use this metal stalk right here. Left, right, down, up, all can be controlled via this. And if you spin it, it changes the fan speed. And when I say it changes the fan speed, I mean it changes the fan speed in just your single air conditioning zone. There are 4 of them. It won't affect the fan speed in the other air conditioning zones. Temperature, however, is still controlled via the screen or voice commands. Even this car's auto air conditioning is smarter than other cars. In addition to taking into account things like the ambient temperature and the temperature inside of the car, it also takes into consideration your geographical position, the day of the year, the time of day, and the car's position in relation to the sun. It does that last one via a light sensor over here, which allows it to tell whether the light is or sun is directly on any given passenger. Are you starting to get an idea about all the stuff inside of this car? I could do 10 minutes about the air conditioning. This car's sound system has 43 speakers, and 16 of those speakers are embedded in the headrests. Yes, each of the headrests has 4 individual speakers, and those speakers' use goes beyond simply adding to the surround sound audio experience. It also is part of the active noise cancellation system. That active noise cancellation system means that not only can the person in the front row listen to music while the person in the back row watches a movie without interfering with one another, it also means that you can cancel out sounds from the back row, such as a phone call, so that the person in the front row, a lowly peon, let's call them, wouldn't be able to understand what the wealthy industrialist in the back row is saying to the prime minister or whatever when they're talking on the phone. A wealthy industrialist like me. Note that this door opens to 77 degrees, allowing for a more dignified and elegant entry and exit. You can always close the door via the button on the overhead here, or if you really want to show off for the gathered paparazzi or international assassins that might be watching, you can do this. Hold on. I'm gonna get it to work. Wait for it. It's gonna be really good. It'll be worth the wait. Hold on. This is not a good look in front of the paparazzi. I'm not going to lie. And at this point, you've probably already been killed by the assassin. But hold on. Last one. I swear to God, I'm gonna get it. Nope. Hold on. This is deeply embarrassing. Okay, the technology may not be perfected. I'm just gonna use the button. We think that it might be my white suit blending in with the seat that is fooling the camera. Let's see what happens when Jonathan tries it with his bare big arms. It does work, just not very well. If you're lucky enough to be dealing with a particularly incompetent international assassin who hasn't already taken the opportunity to take you out while you were waving your arm around like this, you can still throw off their aim by changing the tint on your window with the swipe of a finger. Look how fast that transition happens, much faster than you would expect from an electrochromic window that usually takes 30 seconds or more. That's because that's not electrochromic. It's actually a liquid crystal, like liquid crystal display, LCD. The advantage is speed. The disadvantage is it needs a constant flow of electricity to stay dark, so if you turn off the car, the tint will go back to normal. That, however, is why you have this button here on the center console, which will activate your physical privacy shades. You can also open and close them individually using the screen over here, which we'll get to. Pressing this button, you'll see that there are privacy shades not just for this window and the rear 3/4 window here, but also for the back window as well. It also opens up the massive partition between the two seats. And once that partition gets to the bottom, you'll notice that little piece on the top of the center console pops up to keep anyone in the second row from taking a cheeky little sneaky peek at what's happening back here. Combine that with the noise canceling technology that I mentioned previously, and you have your own luxury cocoon. But that divider isn't just a divider. It's a 40-inch high-definition projection screen. This is a major upgrade from the 32-inch projection screen in other Huawei brands like Ito or Stellato, and not just because it's bigger. In addition to a higher quality projector, it's also built into a wood frame, so it almost completely blocks any light from coming around it. Add the privacy screens, and I think Huawei has finally found the proper application for this technology. There's still the small problem of how you control that because it's not a touch screen. The first option is if you have a Huawei phone, you can mirror that onto your phone and then control it that way. The other option is this right here, the 6.6-inch little tablet, which is pop-outable. And if you hit this button right here, it will then mirror that screen onto here, allowing you to control all of your functions. Now, that is good. What is bad is, just like in the Stellato S9, it's not a very big screen, and so the icons are quite small and not very easy to see. This little sucker can also control the starry sky roof. Yes, just like in a Rolls-Royce, except unlike the one in the Rolls-Royce, this one's not $17,500, it's only a little over $11,000. And it's an active moving sky, including shooting stars. The third button you'll find here on the center console is the fingerprint lockable center storage compartment right there. Working our way aft, if you hit that button, it deploys two cup holders, which are, of course, cooled and heated at the touch of a button. I, however, am a rich person, so I subsist mostly on a diet of champagne and caviar. Therefore, I am going to make use of these magnetized champagne glass holders right here. As for the caviar, I've asked Jonathan to place it in the heated and refrigerated compartment here between the seats. Let me just grab it for you. Jonathan, this is not caviar, it is Spam.
Oh, sorry, Ethan. We spent over $1,000 on this car for 2 days. We don't have any caviar budget left.
Right. On a totally unrelated note, now would be a good time for you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so we can continue to afford to rent cars like this and bring you videos. The time has come for us to take the S800 on the road. Now, originally, I planned on sitting in the back seat the whole time while my English driver took me around. I even bought him a special outfit.
You all right, Governor?
Yes, but unfortunately, I have remembered that this is a rental car and the insurance only covers me, so I guess I'll be driving.
Does that mean you're going to wear the hat?
No.
Ah.
Jonathan, how is it back there?
Oh my God, this must be what it feels like to have your own private jet. I mean, you've got a place just for your phone here. You've got a fridge with an inner fridge compartment that can self-clean with UV. You've got your own private table which folds out here.
Figured it out.
And included with the table is a vanity mirror.
There we
In
go.
front of that, you've also got your own private storage area
All right,
with
that is enough
fingerprint
feedback
scanning.
from the help. I'm
You've
going to
also
take
got
over
your
from
little
here.
area here where you can select all the different parts of the chair and change even the headrest and the bolsters. You've got crystal all around. And then
Seeing as I've been drafted to drive this thing, I've asked Jonathan to tell me a little bit about the specs, which I will now impart to you. This thing has 3 available powertrain options. The first is a pure electric dual motor variant, which makes 390 kilowatts and 673 newton meters of torque. It has a 97 kilowatt hour NMC battery pack with an official CLTC range of 650 to 670 kilometers. That depends, of course, on how many options you burden it with. Then there's the extended range options, which starts with the base version. It's got a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder and the same dual motors and same power levels as the pure electric, but it has a smaller battery pack, 65 kilowatt hour NMC, and official CLTC range of 400 kilometers. The final powertrain option is this flagship model, which is also extended range, but adds a 3rd motor. So 1 up front, 2 in the rear. The range drops to 365 kilometers, but power jumps up to 635 kilowatts or 850 horsepower. Interestingly, torque only jumps to 718 newton meters. So this car's 0 to 100 kilometer per hour time of 4.6 seconds actually isn't as fast as the 4.3 seconds of the pure electric model. I'm not really sure why that is. Either way, it's more than enough power for a car that's intended to be taking people around in serene comfort. But the advantages of the tri-motor system aren't limited to just more power. While every version of this car comes standard with rear steer up to 12 degrees, which by the way is more than a Maybach, enabling them to have a turning radius of 5.05 meters, which by the way is about the same as a Honda Fit, only the tri-motor has crabwalk, which allows you to kind of slide through tight spaces. Is that extra power and crabwalk function worth the extra 80,000 RMB or over 11,000 USD that they're asking for the tri-motor powertrain? If you're a rich person looking for bragging rights, the answer is absolutely yes. But for everybody else, I'm not so sure. In a world of 1,000 plus horsepower super sedans and SUVs, the S800's powertrain honestly isn't that special. And neither is the suspension, at least the hardware. It's double wishbone front with multi-link rear, dual chamber air suspension all around, and CDC or constant damping control. This is technology that's available on much cheaper cars here in China. It's also nowhere near as technologically advanced as cars like the Neo ET9, which has active hydraulic suspension, or the Yangwang U7, which has active electromagnetic suspension. Sure, but everybody knows that hardware is only one component in a car's suspension. The tuning is also very important. So how's the tuning? Honestly, not that great. It's pillowy soft, especially when you put it into executive mode, which is intended to maximize rear passenger comfort. Unfortunately, that also results in 1, throttle response, accelerator response that is glacially slow, and lots of body roll. As a matter of fact, every mode, from sport mode to eco mode to comfort mode to executive mode, all have a lot of body movement. So much so that multiple people that I took for rides complained about getting car sick within minutes of me starting to drive them around.
Remember that sound canceling system I mentioned earlier? It doesn't just block out your driver's questionable music tastes. It also works with chassis-mounted accelerometers that sense suspension-induced vibrations and create sound waves to cancel them out. This isn't the first system of its kind, but while most use just 1 accelerometer and a Maybach uses 3, this one uses 14.
Listen, your car can have every creature comfort on earth, but if people are getting sick because of the suspension, no amount of functions is going to make them enjoy their time in the back seat. One of the saving graces for this car's driving experience is the Huawei driver assistance system. This is Huawei ADS 4.0, their newest software, and the S800 has their highest level hardware as well, including 5 LiDAR units, 1 mechanical LiDAR unit, and 4 solid-state LiDAR units. The currently available L2++ system that I'm using right now is already very good, both on highways and on surface streets. But Huawei is so confident in the capabilities and future-proofing that they've done in terms of hardware that they have included this little button here on the steering wheel. This button, that looks like an A, currently doesn't do anything. Just press, doesn't do anything. But they say when they make their L3 driver assistance system available, that's the button that's going to turn it on and off. There doesn't seem to be a hard timeline for when they're going to release their L3 system, and personally, I prefer to give companies credit for doing things rather than saying they're going to do things, but it's pretty exciting to think that one day I'll finally have an excuse to fire Jonathan for good. When it comes to the aesthetics and the features on the S800, I think it's absolutely worth the $100,000 to $150,000 price tag, even with the obvious teething problems that we've shown you. However, I think it lacks the refinement of a Mercedes-Benz Maybach S-Class or even a Neo ET9 when it comes to the chassis dynamics, the driving and riding experience. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I'm gonna go sell some drugs in Miami. Ah, yeah.